Greetings, citizens from the rolling hills of the bluegrass. So I want to throw something at you. What is the oldest known game that humanity has ever played? Now, some of you are going to immediately go to something like some kind of ball game or maybe a pick up sticks type thing. I'm being a little more rhetorical with that question, because it's something we played as kids, but we didn't really consider it a game. We just thought it was kind of a ha-ha funny thing whenever it got to the end. I'm talking about telephone. Humanity has had telephones, even though the word didn't exist, has had telephone for a very long time. And you might go, well, what in the world are you talking about? And I imagine this. Hunter-gatherer. Just before sundown, the fire's been built. Everyone's sitting around the fire, eating, laughing, talking about the things that were done today. Oh, we saw a snake. Oh, was it dangerous? No, you're eating it. Ha, ha, ha. And then grandma or grandpa starts telling a story. And that story is about a younger grandparent, a grandpa, who is out on the hunt. And his younger brother, it was his turn to throw the first spear. But his brother wasn't sure that he could do it, but he tried anyways. And unfortunately, the spear landed short, but the animal saw him and charged. Little brother runs up, grabs the spear, throws it again, and it hits this time, but too late. And the animal makes contact. But little brother hit true, and it only took a few more spears and the animal was brought down, but little brother died. But without his efforts, they would not have eaten. They would have starved. And so Grandpa tells you the story of little brother. And then you grow up, you add to the family. Grandpa has since passed away. Grandma is no longer there to show people how to tan hides. But little sister, your little sister, learned. And so now you all tell the stories and pass on the knowledge. And though they're not the same, there's little additions, little changes added here and there to maybe make it more exciting, or just the general, over time, things are forgotten. But the game goes on. And that's oral history. It's not profound, and it's probably been described this way before. But again, I work on inspiration, which means I don't have a lot of time to read other people's opinions, and sometimes I remake the wheel. But it's this idea that we've had this history with us for forever. Now let's bump that up a little bit. Poems. Of course, these are political shows, so it's always got to come back to this. Poems. Roll eyes now. There's a poem that I'll link to. It's an African American gentleman, a black man, telling a story about his mother taking him to see his father in prison. And there's always been one line that has stuck with me, in essence, is that we are our Father's children, but we are not their choices. We are our Father's children, but we are not their choices. Meaning we can transcend the mistakes of others, both in our parents, our siblings, and in our other acquaintances. We are not tied down to their mistakes, meaning you're an individual. You have options. May not be the options you want, but you have them, and you get to choose. I'm not going to go down the metaphysical route and all of the new age stuff that's being pushed out by some of the new atheists about mindfulness and how we don't exist. But you have choices. So we have this poem, and we have the ancient game of telephone. And then we come to Kimberly Crenshaw. And this is the great discussion that's going on now. It's been going on for a couple of weeks. I haven't made a video on it because other people are making videos on it. And it's just, you don't need that kind of bloat, because and sometimes it creates noise. And especially if there's an inarticulate as I am, it just becomes real noise. Right? Full out noise where you just sound like a complete moron, which I can do easily on my own without getting facts mixed up. But I was watching one of these videos, and as normal, I'm talking to myself because I'm the only one in this room, and I kind of like to hear what I have to say or think. And I did this arm motion because we were talking about intersectionality. And I did this cross with my arms in front of me, and I paused for a second. And I remembered back to the way Crenshaw described intersectionality. And she explains it like you're at a real four-way stop or a traffic light stop, right? And that this idea that a person can be hit by cars coming from opposite directions, and she can get hit by both of them or just one of them, but because of her gender and because of her race, she gets hit by at least two at once. And then this intersection can grow and grow and grow and be as big as you want and have as many lanes as you need to get hit by. Or it can be as small as you want it to be, down to 4, up to 8, whatever. So it has a scalability in the idea of how many of these different lines can hit you. Now, it's a very striking image, and the way she describes it, yeah, that's very effective. But what she never takes the time to think about is that in her analogy, she's standing in the middle of the intersection. Why doesn't she get on the sidewalk? Who's stopping her from getting on the sidewalk? Who are these people that are thwarting her abilities? Because she's no slouch. She has a doctorate. She's done the work. PhDs, I make fun of them from time to time. But let's be honest, she still had to put in some effort. And again, you don't take away people's effort. Even if you don't agree with the things that they produce, they still went and did something. But why didn't she get on the sidewalk? Why didn't she decide to step out of the intersection and say, I'm no longer going to play by these rules? Why did she allow other people's choices to dictate to her who she was? Because there's other things going on here. There are other political elements occurring other than the two that she's citing in intersectionality. She doesn't agree with the economic system. That's the primary one that doesn't get a whole lot of light. But it eventually all of these woke ideas. Eventually all will come back to economics at some point, and therefore capitalism must be done away with. Gotten rid of. Regardless of the racial and gender implications, eventually at some point, end capitalism. Boom, done, and we win. But she stands in the middle of that intersection. And she takes the barrage over and over again. Because it suits the political element. The theater that is occurring in that analogy is amazing. But then again, another thing that's never brought up is what happens at an intersection. You're in your car, you're driving down, you come to a four-way stop, you look left, right, forward. No one else is there. You pull through. You pull through the intersection and move on to your next destination. You're not trapped there. All the stop sign is a suggestion that you may need to be cautious. You're supposed to stop. Won't get into that. You're supposed to stop to see if the other traffic might need to go first. But you're not stuck there. And this is as metaphorical as that game of telephone that I was talking about. And it's as metaphorical as the version of the intersection that she's been standing in since the 1980s. She can leave. All she has to do is get on the sidewalk. But she won't. She can't. Because that will destroy her position. And she's an African American woman. I have no doubt that she has seen some pretty terrible stuff in her time. Been treated probably terribly by singular individuals. I have no doubt about it. Not going to dispute it, not even going to argue it at all. But we are not our Father's choices. We are their children. We are not our parents' choices. We are not society's choices. They can inflict things on us, but in the end, you become what you want. Get out of the intersection. Quit playing in the street.